Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for the energy of your next week. So the way pick a card readings work, if you are new to this, I have 3 piles in front of me, 1, 2, and 3. You get to engage your intuition, check the timestamps down below for, because you make a choice. For that reading, you go there and then I engage my intuition to then read the cards for you. So if you like to pick with objects, so you can pick the number, you can like the deck, whatever one is calling to you. If you like to pick with objects, I'll be placing them here in a moment. But you can also check the timestamps, and if a number combination calls out to you, that's another way that you can pick. Just for whatever reason, when it's calling for you, that is for you. If you hear giggling, it's my kids. They're going crazy, so it is what it is. So for group 1, I have this Moonstone egg for you. For group 2, we have Malachite. For group 3, we have Sardonyx. So you can pause the video at any point that you like and decide what's right for you, and I will meet you at your reading. Thank you. Hello, group 1. If you picked the Moonstone egg, you are in the right spot. I'm just going to move that out of the way, and I'm shuffling on camera for these 2 today. But the first card that comes out for you for the overall energy of your next week, we have She Who Surprises, Breeze, surprise, discovery, revelation. So there's a lot of things coming out. You're probably even gonna surprise yourself with some things, but unfolding. And I feel like there's just like a beautiful curiosity. I feel like a lot of the things that might surprise you, it's gonna be like a pleasant surprise. A lot of times we don't like surprises. A lot of times we don't like change, which surprises can like be almost like an instant change. And with her, we've got a ton of butterflies, but I feel like it's just a really beautiful metamorphosis. It's a beautiful change. It's something, again, like finding out something about yourself, surprising yourself. And I also feel like there's a bit of like truth coming in, something that you've been seeking and looking for, like the light is shining on that. And something is coming out for you, some truth. So something to look forward to. Let's see if we can get some more information here with these cards. Ooh, 2 of Cups. Interesting. I like it. Lovely. 8 Strength. And Knight of Pentacles. And we've got the Page of Swords. Wow. Okay, so Page of Swords, like when I was talking about coming out with truth, Swords energy is about truth. Swords energy is about logic. It's about information. So yeah, I feel like there's information coming in. Page is also somebody that it's like new. It's new discoveries for them. And they're not quite sure exactly where to go with it, but it does feel very freeing with this new energy. This could be related to a crush, somebody that you are interested in, or a partnership, friendship. You just, it could be that, for me, it would be like I'm speaking to a new mom or a mom that I've never spoken to before, and we have this mutual connection over something like that. It's like, yay, I have a friend. For you, it could be definitely a partnership. And it looks at the beginning of something beautiful. It could also be something that you're discovering more about somebody that you're dating. Again, I feel like it's a pleasant surprise. I feel like it's something good, and definitely something that you can handle. I talked about you like opening up this curtain, allowing information to come in, finding strength, finding you know, strength is about you. It's about your inner strength. It's about you conquering something. So this can be a new revelation about yourself where you didn't think you could handle a situation, or you didn't think you could do something. And you're like, wow, you know what? I actually can do this. It is going to work out for me. I'm finding something. So with strength and like a new revelation, absolutely. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles. This is why I'm talking about this here, because I talk about body positivity. And a lot of times, you know, we struggle with weight, or we struggle with losing weight, something like that. This doesn't have to be your situation, but it's an example of, and there's signs that for many of you, this could be like you felt like you couldn't transform your body in whatever way that you wanted. You couldn't do it. When we've got strength and the Knight of Pentacles here, Pentacles deals with the physical. That's why I'm talking about your body. It could be also related to money. But it is something that you're finding like, wow, if I start this routine and I do this thing over and over and over again, I am actually seeing results about it. And you're finding that the biggest thing that has been holding you back is your own personal limitations, your own personal thoughts and limitations. And I love that the Page of Swords is here. We're just cutting out those negative vibes. We're cutting out those negative thoughts, and we're continuing on with positivity. I love Pentacles and Swords together because Swords is such like ideas and information, and it comes in and it sounds really, really great, but it doesn't go anywhere unless we put like a practical plan behind it, unless we put a step-by-step, like some people don't do well with step-by-step, but at least you have to start. At least you have to put that first foot forward. You have to do something in order for your ideas to come to reality. And this is like, oh my gosh, I found this information. This is really interesting for me. It really resonates. I never thought that I could handle something like this, but I'm going to give it a shot. And as you work forward, as you do this, it like you keep surprising yourself, and it's a really great vibe. It's a really, it's just lovely. I love it. And the Two of Cups over here indicates that it's something fulfilling, that it's something that you absolutely love. There might be other people involved in helping you. Now, going back to a love connection, for those of you looking for that and resonating with the love connection, like again, this looks really promising and really good. Two of Cups is a mutual, and I love this particular deck because it, you know, you don't realize how much numbers matter until you kind of see it as the representation of the card. So I love that we have the 8 here, and it's an infinity symbol, and it's reciprocal energy. I love, and not every love connection or partnership is reciprocal energy. Sometimes somebody steps up. In a long-term relationship, though, I feel like it works best if it is. Sometimes one person needs to step up and be stronger, but it's vice versa. In the instance of illness or something like that, like you take care of them, they take care of you, you're the strong one now, they're the strong one, and I love cups and strength together. So if you're in a new relationship and you're finding out new information, it looks really, really good for that relationship. But still, it's just bringing in your dreams. I love this. Okay. Bringing in your dreams and putting a plan behind it. Okay, so we've got Trust, which is 32. That's the egg moon. And then we've got Extremes, which is 35, the hot moon. What I'm noticing right away is that both of these are full moons. It means that you are... usually full moons is a great time to let go of something. So if you want to embark on something new, part of your strength might be letting go of something. I already mentioned possibly negative thinking, because that's what's holding you back. That's what's holding you in the dark here. And you letting go of attachments. Like, I'm never going to find the love of my life. Something like that, like a negative energy. Or I'm not going to be able to lose weight. Or I didn't think that I could support myself. That's what I think. I love that we've got the strength card here, because you're finding the strength within yourself that you didn't know that you had. So full moons, powerful energy. Usually they talk about releasing those blockages, because we're releasing things to get into this space where we're manifesting our dreams and our desires and our goal weight and our beautiful relationship that we want, or our career. We have this idea and then we're bringing it into reality. And usually the disconnect between the idea and bringing it into reality is when it crosses your brain and then you start making excuses about it, or you start worrying about how it's going to get done instead of focusing on like that. But it doesn't really matter. I'm going to start off with this and I'm focusing over here on what it is that I want, and I'm just going to keep going until I get it. So then the egg moon trust. And I think the egg moon, I'm not exactly sure when the egg moon is. I believe hot moon extremes is June, July, and I believe the egg moon is like springtime. So I feel like whatever you're putting, because it feels like this is new energy, this is a new discovery. So whatever you're putting into action is going to come to more to a fruition from spring into summer. So I love also when I get moons, because it helps with timing of things as well. But just keep embracing this Knight of Pentacles energy, because he just keeps going. You keep showing up, you keep doing what you want, and little things, little by little, make huge gains, give you huge gains, give you huge improvements, give you huge paybacks on the result of your work and what you're doing. And I feel like a lot of times too, when we have this Page of Swords energy that gets super excited about something, a lot of times they get distracted very easily. But I love the Knight of Pentacles like backing it up, because the Knight of Pentacles is somebody who keeps moving forward, slow and steady wins the race, and is very focused on that end goal. And then the egg moon is trust in your vision, trust in yourself. And a lot of times when we begin a journey, the only thing that we have is trust. Or when we hit an obstacle, dig into your strength, where you realize you are strong enough, and trust yourself. What I love about the representation here on this She Who Surprises, like you can surprise yourself, but I love the butterflies. Can you imagine not knowing that a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, and you're observing this caterpillar, and then they wrap themselves up in a chrysalis, and you're like, what the heck is happening here? And then what bursts forward is a butterfly. Like, that is completely surprising. But trust your process, and in the middle of it, it might get kind of ugly. Just keep your vision. And then we've got hot moon extremes. Extremes is kind of, I kind of see this card as almost like a temperance card, bringing in balance, which Two of Cups and Strength, it talks about that, like that reciprocal energy, that maybe things are going to get like pulled to one side. You got to bring it back. And it might be a dance that you do to do that. And just, Two of Cups is very balanced. It's a very balanced emotional energy. So don't get too bent out of shape or emotionally invested. When you see things kind of like veering off to one side, just bring it back. Veering off to the other side, just bring it back. Bring it back to your vision, and just trust and believe in yourself, because you are stronger than you can ever imagine. So group 1, I love this for you. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Hello, group 2, and welcome to your weekly reading. So, to the lovely Malachite, and I'm gonna shuffle on camera today with these 2 decks, but the first card that came out for you and the overall energy of your coming week, we have She Who Regrets, Acolyte, Battle, Victory, Bitterness. So usually when we're fighting battles, we feel like if we're going to, we're competitive or we want to win, or we feel like, winning at all costs is really, really important. But what this card says is, it may not be. Like, the damage that you're doing to yourself, the damage that you're doing to the people around you, can cause regret and bitterness. It's probably time to do some healing. It's probably time to stop and look around. And it's so funny. I'm getting that Ferris Bueller. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might realize that life is passing you by. So you feel like there's these battles that are raging inside of you. There's battles that are raging between you and other people. And maybe it's even an online battle. And because a lot of these, I feel like, just get to be so pointless. Like, what's the point? Or a battle between you and family members. It's really interesting talking to older people who feud, and you know that they don't like each other, and you're like, oh, well, what happened? Like, what happened here? And they're like, I don't know. Like, they don't even know. And so if you're fighting battles and you don't even know why, it might be time to put down that sword. I also feel like forgiveness is going to be a huge thing. It's a great week to start that. If you have encountered family this time of year, for many, that's what they're doing, is encountering family. And a lot of times we get really hyped up about that, or nervous or anxious about it, like what's going to happen. And you were pleasantly surprised. It's kind of time to focus on what you guys love and your love for each other, rather than dislike in some way. Look at this. We have harmony. We've got Knight of Cups. I love this. This is the first time I'm using this deck on camera, and it's been on point so far. The harmony is a card that's specific to this deck, and but I love it here. It's about finding harmony and your emotion. Yes, and the Sun and your emotional. Your well-being and finding harmony with people rather than fighting, because a lot of people, they don't even realize what they're fighting for. Or I have some family members, and they actually even agree with each other. They agree, but they fight. And I'm like, you guys are both if you actually stopped and listened to what you're saying, you are in agreement. I don't understand why you're even fighting, and I think it's just because of like clinging to some sort of identity sometimes, where Democrats, Republicans, but there's not a black or white. There's not a like it's only this way or it's only that way. There's a lot of middle ground in between, and we get into this like groove of, well, if you don't think exactly the same way that I do, then you don't care about old people or the children or whatever, which isn't true. There's just different ways of handling it. So I feel like harmony is a great time to find that harmony with each other, to find ways to work with each other. I love this card that I said is specific to this deck. And I love it because if you think about your songs, there's a harmony, there's a melody, there's different instruments, there's the vocal, there's so much going on. sometimes the beat switches up, and all of those individual elements come together to make something beautiful. And I feel like that's kind of how families are too. That, can you imagine if everyone around you were the same? It gets creepy. That's the whole premise between like the Stepford Wives, that everything like appears beautiful and perfect on the outside, but there's an underlying current of like weird and creepiness. Like, how can everybody be the same? We can't. So we can't like beat each other up because we aren't the same. We just need to like listen to each other. And I feel like forgiveness is a huge part of that. Ace of Wands reversed, I feel like, is just, putting your passions aside. Kind of being a little bit, instead of being like overly emotionally attached to something. We've got the Knight of Cups here. View people with love, see them with love, and allow love to come in. And when you get like attached to something, whatever that is, you can be manipulated by that. Become the viewer of your emotions and what they are telling you. When we are triggered by something, somebody says something and that triggers us, you usually get upset with the person who said it. But in reality, we need to shine, the sun is here, we need to shine some light on that thing and kind of pull the string, like, because the things we think are attached to other things. And when you think back of like, well, wait a second, why am I having this reaction? For instance, you're outside and somebody tells you that the sky is purple. You don't have an emotional attachment to the color of the sky. It's obviously blue. Whatever, right? Agree to disagree. I'm not going to argue with it. But somebody has a disagreement with you on something you're emotionally attached to, your immediate reaction is to like come out fighting. And this is saying like, hey, you can agree to disagree on things. That's okay. The world is colored by people who think different things, and that's the beauty of it. That is the real diversity, is diversity of thought, diversity of our experiences. The other thing is that the way we think is shaded by our experiences. A lot of the ways we think is based on our families, where we were born. You're more likely to be a Christian born in a certain area, more likely to be a Muslim born in another area, a Buddhist born in another area, Hindu. Does that mean that just because I'm born in this area that everybody else is wrong? A lot of religious leaders would tell you, yeah. But how can like millions, billions of people be wrong, right? That doesn't make sense. So a lot of this is finding out, looking for clarity, making sense, and not getting so angry and emotionally attached to things, because what it really does in the end, and what Colette is saying, is that it just makes you bitter. And what we really need is this beautiful sun. Sun is about joy. Sun is about love. And it's about harmony. And I love that harmony is here. And this is about forgiveness and letting go, and asking, maybe you need to ask for forgiveness for other people, because sometimes we can be idiots. I'm not calling you that. I'm just saying, for personal experience, I can be an idiot. So, okay, let's see what else we have here. The path and the unexpected. I love this. The unexpected blue moon, and then we've got waxing crescent, the path. So I feel like this is just a week for you to kind of like realize that people love you and that you can love them. And really that is what not disagreement, but love and harmony is what enacts change. Like if you are upset because you need some change in your life, or you feel that there's some injustice, this is putting you on a path to love and joy, and creating and radiating that around you, to to be that love and joy. When you just fight and are angry, like, it means something, right? Your emotions are a guide, but you need to be the like the observer of your emotions to, and this almost looks like, okay, pulling myself out here, observing the way I feel about this. What does that really mean? What do I really need to do? How can I actually, instead of engaging on like this playing field that we're all losing, that we're all being bitter, that I may feel like I have a victory, but really I'm just like exposing the bitterness of my soul to everybody. How can I react with love? When I see spheres in this deck too, I also kind of think of boundaries, because nobody can, what's that? Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel belittled without your consent. So a lot of times we get upset because we think that somebody is talking down to us, that somebody doesn't appreciate us. But if you don't care, I'm going back to that like purple sky opinion, like if you don't care about somebody's opinion in the first place, it doesn't really matter. And and it's harder when we've got emotional attachments, especially when we're talking about families. But a lot of the things that we think, that people think about us, I know that's so convoluted. Opinions, other people's opinions, they're their opinions, and they're actually a reflection of their own experience rather than who you are in your experience. The only thing you can do about other people's opinions is put a boundary around you. And this is hard. But what I mean by that is like saying, okay, you know what? That's your opinion. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I feel like you're wrong. And that's okay. I'm not going to fight you over it. Because when you like say something to me that's you're actually revealing your own character rather than describing mine. That actually is I learned in literature versus in real life, but I wish I would have learned it really and applied it to real life before I learned that in literature, because that is a great way for character development in stories and books. And then I was like, oh, that also tells me about real people. But I love the unexpected as well. Blue moon, a full moon. Full moons are a great time to shed, to let things go, because what happens is the full moon is it's actually the middle of the lunar cycle, but it's like the apex. It is the biggest. And then from this point on, it's getting smaller. So you can use the moon energy to release. And I feel like it's here to tell us to release any negative energy, put boundaries around ourselves. And then the path. This is the way that you're going to get there. And you may not get there overnight. Some of these things are really difficult to release. Some of these things are really difficult to let go of. And that's okay. Just keep an eye on where you're going to. Someplace better, someplace more beautiful, someplace full of love. You're embracing this sun energy. And I love this for you, group 2. I hope you have a fantastic week. It's really interesting going through this reading because I was feeling this really intense, energy right around my heart. But now that I'm at the end, it just really feels good, and it feels like a release, and it feels like finding joy. And that's what the next week is about for you, group 2. Love you. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. If you picked the Sardonyx, you are in the right spot. Maybe you liked the number 3 or the timestamp, whatever. Welcome. So I am going to shuffle on camera for these two, but your first card that comes out is She Who Knows, Yelena. wisdom, clarity, resolution. So I love this card because it feels like there may have been some worry or concern going on for you recently. It may even be it's an ongoing thing that you don't quite have a resolution for. Yelena is someone who looks at a solution not only logically, but uses her heart as well. It is about finding that clarity and almost like that balance. If you look at her earrings, they almost look like scales. Maybe not, they look like chandeliers, but they could be scales, and finding that like balance between the two. And what's really important is, you know, running it past your heart, running it past your head, and then that conclusion that comes afterwards. It's kind of looking directly into the heart of the matter and then moving it up to your head. And then once you unearth the emotional and intellectual why of this question, you will be able to clearly see the way to resolving it completely. So I love that for you, especially if it's something that you've been concerned about for a while. And I love that the Ace of Cups is the first thing that comes out here. And then charging out, we have the Moon. Seven of Cups. Wow, very emotional here. Wow. And then Seven, Chariot, very emotional. Something that feels like it's been cloudy for a while with the Moon here and the Moon reversed. I think that may have come, I almost feel like the way it came out, I think it should be upright. So I'm feeling that that's the way it should read. So I'm going to pull it out here upright. Ace of Cups and Seven of Cups. Love this because I said use, you know, getting to that heart of the matter, getting to the emotional things behind it. Usually if we're worried about something, there's a reason why, and it's usually involving our emotions, and our emotions can get ramped up and make it feel or seem worse. A lot of times logically we get, if you look at something logically, it's like, why would I even be concerned about that? You know, I know that I have the skills. I know that I have the talent, that this is not even a problem. Let's say like a job interview, for instance. But we get hyped up or worried about it. Maybe even it's a test. You know, if you think back at school and you're like, I know this information inside and out, but it's just like the unknown here with the Moon. Like the Moon, you know, if you walk outside at night, things just are not as clear as they are during the day. And the moonlight is very beautiful, but it's also very mysterious. And sometimes that mystery can give us a little bit of anxiety. So I feel like emotions, Cup is about emotions. The Ace of Cups, though, those emotions can take us to several places. They can either like take us on and carry us to something beautiful, like the Seven of Cups, where we have a ton of different choices, or they can make us worry and give us anxiety. And I feel like using this, like in the past, because the Moon can talk about having anxiety about things too, because you're just not certain where to go or what to do. The Moon can also talk about choices, and so the Seven of Cups talks about choices too. Look, there's a path here to each of these cups. Like, great, I have all these choices, but where do I go? I only have 2 feet to carry me. I can't travel 2 paths at the same time. And the Moon kind of talks about choices as well. We've usually, and this one is no different, we've got 2 dogs here. It even has 2 pyramids here in the background. And it usually talks about taking like the middle path between the 2. The dogs represent, one is the wild and the other one is the tame. And if you travel on the tame path, well, you may not even go anywhere. You may get just too comfortable being where you are. If you travel on the wild path, well, you know, you're taking a lot of chances and you can get out of control. But it's bringing that into balance, into where you really want to be. And the Chariot often talks about balance. I also love that we've got a 7. We've got 2 sevens here. I feel like that is really positive for you uncovering, because sometimes uncovering these emotions and reasons and gaining clarity like that's kind of difficult, and I feel like there's like anxiety definitely behind here, but Yelena is cutting through that anxiety and helping you find your choices and getting you moving in the direction that you want to go. But sometimes that can, like I said, be uncomfortable. We've got 2 sevens here, and I feel like that is, lucky number 7. Like you are on the right path. Even the Ace of Cups talks about being on the right path, but because it encompasses all of the potential, but it's just potential of the cups. It doesn't mean that you're going to go the right way. And even the 7 of Cups, it doesn't mean that you're going to go the right way. You just have like a ton of choices. I feel like your anxiety might be about choices. But the Moon talks about, let's combine some of these choices or some of the aspects of these choices so that we make sure it's right for us. Because even though it appears like I've got this path to the blue cup or the orange cup or the green cup, usually there's things in here. One is a serpent or a dragon, another is a castle. There's all of these possibilities, but once you start tapping into your intuition and finding clarity between your heart and your head of what is really important to you, then you kind of are like, oh, wait a second, this purple cup, yeah, I could totally do that, but it doesn't make sense to me because of my values. Or this pink cup here, I could totally do that, but that is going to take more time or money than I want to invest. So over here is my right opportunity for me. It almost reminds me of like a dating app where all of these people are popping up for you and it feels good and you're like, yeah, I'm attractive, everybody wants to date me. But in reality, you're like, you know what, this person is not going to be right for me, or this person lives 2,000 miles away, or this person, isn't a vegan and I'm a vegan and that's really important to me, or, and then you start like, okay, yeah, it feels great to have all of these decisions, but when I narrow it down to one, that's what's really important and powerful. And then the Chariot is momentum, and it's getting that momentum behind it. It also has an aspect of, I said there's the wild and the untamed, and it's kind of like bringing those together and moving forward. The Chariot is like that as well. It's like getting these 2 ideas together and moving it forward. And it might be that you have been anxious because you're like, I don't know how, me as an artist is going to date this engineer. But then you like get it together and work it out, and then it works out very beautifully and very harmoniously. Or you have an idea, you as an artist, to become an entrepreneur, for example. You take, because the Chariot often is depicted with 2 sphinxes pulling a chariot, and one is usually black and one is usually white, and you have to harness that power. You have to get them moving in the right direction. I see the Chariot sometimes as somebody who has to like manage people who are very, very different, and how to get them motivated and working on the same project. And when you are doing a project like in a work environment, it really is helpful to have people who think completely different. But it can be hard to keep them on task, to keep them focused on the same thing. But the Chariot is taking that energy and making it something new, making it something better. I often think about the Chariot too, kind of like, because this is coming through Socrates and the dialectic. So one person knows something, another person knows something, but when they talk, something magical happens and a third thing is known. We build on that and we gain momentum. And one person thinks with their heart, another person thinks with their head. Yelena is taking it all together and doing it herself. So there might be things that make you emotionally happy and fulfilled. There's a lot of emotions here, but is it logically does it make you happy? So it's emotions and logic and kind of balancing that out. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I went a lot of places here, group 3, but I feel like it's because there's so many possibilities and there's such a great potential here. The moon and the chariot very much talk about having great potential. And it's, you know, bringing together your wisdom and emotions to do that. So we've got waxing, crescent, nourishment, and then we've got boundaries. Okay, I love them both. I love them both for you. So nourishment is kind of just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I do see it very much connected to Cups cards, self-care, self-love, so important. Yelena, again, she uses her heart and her head. Don't, because there's a lot of things that logically make a great choice for us, but it just doesn't feel good. And things should feel good to your heart. So for instance, like logically, I should be a stock trader because that makes a lot of money and I can support my family. But if your heart's not in it, and if you're not like invested in it that way, it's not the choice for you. It's not the perfect choice for you. So nourish your body, do things that feel good for you, do things that are good for you. You are and look at this, it's another number 777. Very lucky next week. You should buy a lottery ticket. Yeah, doing things that feel good to you and, you know, cutting out, it's hard to cut out bad habits, right? What is actually very helpful in getting rid of bad habits is replacing it with a good one. So, for instance, you know, if you're somebody who likes to smoke, maybe every time you want a cigarette, you eat a carrot. That might not be very good. I've never quit smoking, so you'll let me know. But when I want to quit drinking soda, I replace it with what are those carbonated waters, and I find stuff that I like. So replacing bad habits with good habits. And then boundaries, waxing, gibbous, moon, it's just putting boundaries around yourself. It's really important, especially if you're somebody who's very emotionally charged, to not let other people come in with their emotions and clutter yours. And you know, putting that boundary to where you can agree to disagree with people. You're not going to engage. You're going to look at each feeling or each thought and go, is this my thought or is this planted here by somebody else? Is this my thought or is this for instance, you know, marketing and advertising is so very powerful. Or is this like the message of a political party? Do I really believe this? And when you start questioning messages that are in your head, emotions, that's where you can like have boundaries, like your heart and logic can come together and decide like, is that right or is that wrong? And I think a lot of times, you know, when we're just open to all of these messages and feeling like everybody has their best, like you're open because you're like, well, they have my best interest at heart. Not necessarily. They have their best interest at heart. That might be different from you. And when you start like, oh, wait a second, let me think about that or let me clarify that. And like, no, I'm not going to just blindly accept things that people tell me anymore. Or if you're an empath and you are very susceptible to energies, being that observer of your emotions can help you decide if this is yours or not. I oftentimes get like just this pang of guilt and I'm like, what the heck is this? I mean, that's not a lovely feeling. It's not at all. I'm like, should I feel guilty about something? And then I'm like, no, that isn't even my emotion. Or a lot of times religions or again, politicians will try to make you feel guilty about something. And it's like, hey, wait a second. I'm seeing it for what it is. This guilt is because they want me to act in a way that is controlling, that they can control me. But the Chariot says that you're picking up the reins of your own life and you're not going to be controlled anymore. That you're the one who is now in charge and you're the one driving this chariot. And in fact, I love this. You know, she looks like, the Chariot looks Greek to me a lot of times. And she looks like a Grecian goddess who would definitely pick up the reins of a chariot and drive it. So that's what I have for you, group 3. It kind of, like, again, I feel like it was kind of like all over the place, but that's because we've got all these choices. I just feel like whatever direction that you pick for yourself, as long as you use your heart and logic, it's going to be the right way. And I think these 7s are here to tell you, yep, you are on the right path. So love you. Hope that you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you.